Here.
We should be live. Let us know if you guys can hear and see us all right.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Our lighting is looking better in here.
Oh, it really is. Look at that. Honey, good job. That's like a big difference from last week.
We're getting things figured out.
Slowly but surely, right?
Slowly. Hopefully, surely.
Hopefully, surely.
But don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to exit out of my app. I think we're live. Let's see. If you guys can see us and hear us, comment down below. Mine, phone. Yeah, we're live. I see us now. My phone is still waking up. It's early.
We're all still waking up.
Yeah, for reals. We got coffee, though. Look at this.
We do.
And we got a puppy dog.
Coffee and a golden retriever.
Yeah, welcome to our house every morning. Yeah, honey, I love the lighting. You did a good job. Let's see. So we got Janelle here. She says, I'll have to catch this later. I have to motivate myself out the door to do some errands.
Yes, well, go do your errands, and we will catch you when you are back.
It's always nice thing. You can always just catch the replay of things.
Yeah.
It's always good. We got Lynn here, 22Q Cat.
Hello, Lynn.
She says, good morning, Chris and Ash. Great way to start the day with motivation and positivity.
Oh, thank you kindly.
With two of my favorite peeps.
Oh, no,
we love you. We love you, Lynn,
very
so much. I will say, Lynn, it really does mean a lot. Just why it's on my mind to say this. You are always on every live stream, and you always comment on every video, and we just love you, and we appreciate you tuning in and just keeping up with us. We really genuinely do appreciate you, and we just love you.
We can't do this without people like you.
And you're getting a big hug when we see you in person, and you're pretty much family. So I'm so sorry that you're stuck with us, but
yes, absolutely. We're just gonna start calling her Aunt Lynn.
There you go.
You just got upgraded. You just got upgraded, Lynn. Now you're Aunt Lynn.
She's like those two crazy kids and their little dog, too.
That's right.
Let's see here. Kim Renee Williams says, hello from Idaho.
Hi, Kim.
Hello. Lynn says, Mel with a little heart face and pop.
Yeah,
she's hanging out. Kathy's here.
Hi, Kathy.
She says, good morning. Working from home today and can join.
Oh, well, very cool. I'm so glad you're here. That working from home thing is nice when you can sort of flex things around a little bit like that. So.
I was going to say, I think you're kind of experiencing the whole working from home thing this week.
Yes, I sure am.
So I will say, can I ask you a question?
Of course, you can ask.
Am I allowed to ask questions?
Yeah, of course. This is a safe and open space all the time. So.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, we're kind of waiting for people to tune on and all, because I feel like because of, your papa passing away and we were out of town and there's just been so much going on. But I feel like probably this past week is your first actual week of being home and out of the day job and just doing YouTube full time.
Right.
So how are you enjoying this? Or what is your experience? What's your takeaway from doing YouTube full time? What is it like for you?
So first of all, I love it. The short answer is just I love it because I'm not at a stressful day job where I'm worried about my safety. I'm worried about constantly looking over my shoulder. I'm all these different things. And I talked about this in one of my health vlogs that I used to do sitting with my security uniform in the patrol car. But, my job had gotten to a point where I was really starting to get concerned about am I going to make it home every day? I don't want to get shot or stabbed or any of these kinds of things and not be able to make it home to my wife and my dog. And that's the point where I felt like things were getting to. I remember myself and the officer that I worked with on days had an incident where a guy came into the library on the campus I was working at, and he mentally, I don't think, was all there. And we had to basically escort him off campus. And the entire time he was throwing gang signs at us and telling us we would regret this. And he had friends and, all this kind of stuff. And I mean, a lot of that was just him, doing this. But there's also a legitimate possibility that he's right. And I mean, it's an open area and there are people that will do things like that. And so we, deal with things, or we dealt with things where I just felt like things were dangerous from time to time. And I spent a lot of time working alone. I didn't have anybody there for backup. And there were just a lot of things that were very stressful about that. So I'm very glad to be out of that situation. Also, I feel like I don't work at a breakneck speed to just barely get my YouTube stuff done. I feel like even this last few weeks, we've been playing catch up because having to go out of town and with the funeral and just all of this stuff and preparing for tour for you and all of this, like we are busier than we've ever been. And we're trying to play catch up because we got so behind on so many things because of all of that. And even playing catch up, I feel like I'm able to do more on 2 YouTube channels than I was keeping up with doing on just one. And I'm not stressed and struggling and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that is a really good testament to how important it is to be able to find the things you're passionate about and what it is that you really legitimately have the time to do and the things that deserve your focus and your investment, and put your time in there. And so that's where I really feel like I have finally gotten to where I can do that. And that's really important for me. I think that's a really cool thing. Now, I will say both of us are very tired this morning, and we're not functioning at 100% today. Ash was up in the middle of the night with the dog several times because of just, I don't know, she ate something that upset her tummy. We talk about making her puppy food from scratch. And this is one of the reasons why she just has a really sensitive stomach. And every now and then she eats something we don't know about, or she gets something when we're outside or whatever. And for, a day, 2 days, sometimes a week, depending on how bad it is, she has tummy upset. And, she'll come and get us in the middle of the night to go outside. And usually it's my beautiful wife over here who gets woken up. So she was up several times last night. I also just did not sleep well last night. Dreams and tossing and turning. And, I don't know what that was about. Maybe it's just as I'm coming down off the stress still. But yeah, so we're both a little tired, but I mean, we're here and we're doing everything we know how to just get everything done and keep up with everything. And, we need our motivation on Monday as much as probably any of you does. And we just, even though we're tired, we're here and we're getting ourselves motivated because we have things to do and we want to do good things. So we're here to get motivated right along with you guys today. Yeah. And,
we're getting motivated. It's all good. I think that's the thing. Just, you can't control things that happen in life. Some days you have more sleep, or some days you feel really good. Maybe some days you don't, but you just gotta, show up and do your thing. And I will say it's been interesting to watch you kind of make the transition from working so many jobs to now just doing YouTube and music full time, because I love seeing how intentional you're being with things like these Monday morning live streams or the videos and the recipes you're creating. And it's really cool. I love seeing how intentional, I think is a great word. And I actually think that you're actually working more than what you did when you were working at Tribeca and you teaching guitar and all that still. But I think the time that you're putting into your YouTube channel, I'm seeing it like in your video editing and the ideas that you're throwing off of me and all this stuff. So I think it's great. And I think it's good motivation for people watching, has like you're starting your Monday, and if you're kind of like us and you're jogging and you're trying to get your life together, but it's like, I think where you put your time and your energy and your focus, I think that's kind of where you succeed. And some days you just got to show up.
I agree. I'm sure we have some comments going on. Before I dive into preaching today to get everybody motivated, because I have a subject that I want to talk with you guys about. But before I do that, I'm going to let Ash read some comments.
No worries. Well, here, I can get us caught up, and then you can preach away, and I'll just sit here and drink some coffee, and we'll all just listen to you preach. So Cindy DeManch is here. She says, Cindy. Good morning. Maritza is here, says, hi, Chris and Ash.
Hi, Maritza.
Cindy says, so Lynn is aunt and I am adopted grandma? ? LOL. Yes.
Yeah. I guess so.
If you want to say you'll have us, we'll take you.
I guess so. I mean, Cindy, if you feel better about being an aunt, you can be an aunt too. I mean, the grandma versus aunt thing is really less of an age issue and more of a, just kind of the types of commentary and advice that you've given us. You remind me a little bit of my grandmother, because my grandmother didn't take crap from nobody.
That's right.
And I feel like, Cindy, you were the exact same way, and I love you for it. So.
Lynn said, good morning, Cindy. Yes, we're all family. Maritza says, excuse me. Maritza says, hopefully I can make some carnivore meals this week. That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
She also says that she saw a couple of our videos over the weekend, and I think I missed one. Let me come back here really quick and make sure. Oh, yes. Okay. Maritza also says, I'm recovering from an ER visit, and I think Maritza was telling us, I believe it was on one of your Tuesday night lives, I think last Tuesday, that, and Maritza, you can correct me. I think you were saying that you had surgery. So is everything okay if you were in the ER? Like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How are you, like, what's going on? Because that's very concerning.
Absolutely. How can we pray for you and send you our well wishes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cindy says, I'm good either way. I appreciate it. Love you guys too.
Yes. Cindy, by the way, I did get your message. I saw that. I have your number in my phone. I will call you, and you can regale me all of the details of the funny situation. So.
Oh, I love a good laugh. That's good. Great. There you go. You're all caught up, Mr. Delisle. Please share with the class.
Share with the class?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I titled this live stream. I haven't titled our previous 2 Monday morning live streams, but I decided to title this one because we were watching some stuff yesterday as I was getting caught up on stuff. I like to start my day out with some motivational things from YouTube, from some of our favorite creators and people that we really like. We watched church on YouTube yesterday first, and then yesterday I watched a couple of different videos as I was doing my own online work. I was catching up on things, watching these videos by a guy named Myron Golden. And he's into like finance and financial freedom, and sort of motivating yourself on like how to run a business properly, and just all sorts of different things that he does. Great videos. I would suggest you go check him out if you're trying to do something like run a YouTube channel and make money off of it, because he has some really great things to say. And I was watching this video, and he talked about a subject matter that I'm sort of paraphrasing some of what he said, and then I'm sort of transitioning it over into the keto and carnivore world as well. But this Monday morning motivation is about more than just diet. It's about just holistically being motivated and taking care of your health. So it's not just about the diet, but I did bring some of this over into the keto and carnivore world, and I wanted to tell you guys sort of where I feel like I landed on this, because Ash and I have talked about this at length, and we were talking about it yesterday, and I was like, I think this is something I should discuss with my community. So the concept was the comparison trap. And it's very easy, I think, to fall into this. I certainly have, and I think all of us from time to time do. But the way that he discussed this, he said a few things that I think were really important, and something that is very motivating when you realize that what he was saying makes a lot of sense. Now, Myron Golden he started out as an evangelist, as a preacher who was traveling around and just preaching and all of this kind of stuff. And if you don't share the same faith that we do, that's totally fine. You're still welcome. We see these principles as being biblical principles, but even if you don't believe the same thing we do, they're just good principles in general as just people. So the idea that he was discussing was the comparison trap. And it was this idea that you comparing yourself to other people, or letting other people compare you to them, is a form of bondage. And it is a trap that you will fall into, and you will get sucked in, and it will destroy your life, and it will destroy your productivity. It will destroy your ability to do anything good with your life. And so I thought about this, and I was really thinking about, the keto and the carnivore community, and the effect that I tried to have, because I'm just one person, and, I have my particular skill set and the things that I do, but I am only one of many people who can have an effect. So something that I really try to do is inspire people that you do not have to be constantly concerned about all of the loud voices that are out there that tell you you're doing this wrong, you're overweight, this is going to kill you. Like, all of the different opinions, and they come from so many different sides. You get vegans. I get all of this. This is all from personal experience running a YouTube channel. I get vegans that are angry that I eat meat. I get pure, strict carnivores that are angry that I don't eat just meat. I get people that are somewhere in the middle that are angry that my recipes are too hard. I get people that are upset that I put music on my videos. I get, like, there's all these different ways that people try to say, here's what I'm doing, but here's what I should do. And one of the concepts that Myron was talking about in this video with this comparison trap is you shouldn't should people. And he was like, that's kind of an oxymoron to say you shouldn't should people. But basically, there's no future in shoulding people, and none of us is perfect. It's like we can't even should our own shoulds. We definitely shouldn't should someone else because we can't even take care of the things in our own life perfectly. So why are we telling other people how they should? And this whole thing led to this concept of when you are comparing yourself to someone, you are enslaving yourself to their kingdom, and you are making yourself a slave to somebody else's expectations. And what does kingdom mean? The king has dominion. This is the king's dominion, the kingdom, right? So whoever it is that you're comparing yourself to, you are placing yourself at their feet, trying to live up to their expectations, and you are enslaving yourself to them as the king in their kingdom. But no one in the world deserves for you to be at their feet and make them the king of what you do. You do not need to be a slave to their dominion. Nobody has the right to do that to you. So when you are on a keto diet, when you are on a carnivore diet, when you are doing anything with your life, it doesn't even have to be your diet. It can be anything. When you are sitting by and you're looking at what someone else is doing, you see the weight loss results that they have. You see the way they eat meat, salt, water more strictly than you. You see how they don't use keto products if you do. You see how they exercise more than you. You see that they're thinner than you. Their skin looks better. Their hair is longer and softer. List off anything that you've ever been self-conscious about and you've ever wondered if keto or carnivore can help you. When you sit there thinking about that person's characteristic that you're comparing yourself to, you are enslaving yourself to their kingdom because that is their life and that is their situation with their circumstances. It has nothing to do with you. We all may live based on the same basic principles of a proper human diet and needing the same things, generally speaking, but we are all individual people. We all have things we're good at. We all have things genetically that make us look the way we do, act the way we do, sound the way we do. And there's certain things we can do with our lives and our diets and whatever to affect that to some extent. And we want to take wherever we are and work to be better the next day and get better and better and better. But I don't in any way want any of you, and I don't want myself, I don't want my wife, I don't want any of us sitting there and saying, well, where I am is not good enough because look at where this person is. That is an utter waste of your life. We are all so much better than that. And unfortunately, there are people, a lot of them on the internet, it seems, who are more than happy to tell you everything in their estimation that is wrong with you and that you should be doing this way. And you should, there they are, should, you should, or you shouldn't, or whatever. Guess what? They, whether they mean to or not, whether it is conscious or subconscious, and with a lot of people, it's conscious, but they're not really aware enough to understand what they're doing. They're ignorant of their own ignorance is what it really comes down to. They're jerks without realizing they're even being jerks because they're not elucidated enough to understand that they're being a jerk. But what they're trying to do, whether they mean it or not, is they are trying to enslave you to their expectations and make themselves the king and pull you into their kingdom so they have dominion over you, so they can lord over you to feel better and more powerful in themselves. That is what comparison does. That is what comparison leads us to. Now, if you want to compare yourself to something, you compare yourself today to who you were yesterday. And then tomorrow you compare yourself to who you were today. And if you do that every single day, and you only compare yourself to, can I be better within the things that I love, the things that I'm good at, the things I'm talented at, what I am genetically, where I am in my life, what my circumstances are, can I take today and make something a little better than it was yesterday. If that's the only comparison that you ever make, and you take all of these other things of, well, you're not like this and you're not like that, and you go, I don't care, and you throw them out the window, guess what's going to happen? Every single day, you're going to get a little bit better, and you're going to become more of the person that you wanted to be. And you're going to do it completely free of anybody else's judgment, anybody else's comparisons, and you are not going to be enslaved to anybody else's expectations in their kingdom. And that is how you take control of your own life, and you stop this horrible, disgusting, hateful, you're not as good as me rhetoric that ruins so much of our lives. You go on social media, and what is it that happens on social media? Everyone puts on these pictures that makes it look like their life is perfect, and they talk about these posts and all this stuff, or they put up things that are drama because they want attention for all of this stuff. What is everyone doing? We're all comparing ourselves to each other. You want to talk about the social media sickness that is ruining the social interactions of the human race? That's where it comes from. It's the comparison. I'm not as good as these celebrities. I'm not as good as these people. These people have things I don't. These people are skinnier than me. These people are more athletic than me. They have this, that. Who cares what they have? It doesn't matter what they have. You can sit there and you can should yourself all day long, and you can compare yourself and enslave yourself to all of these expectations and other people's kingdoms that they may or may not even know you're enslaved to. They might even know you exist. You can do it to yourself like that, and you can ruin your life. Or you can say, you know what? This is who I am. This is what I was created to be. These are the things that are important to me. These are the people that are important to me. This is the way I show the love to the people around me. This is the way I can serve people. This is how I can have a positive effect. And if I do it today a little better than I did yesterday, and I don't worry about comparing myself to anybody, and I just do it a little better today, and then I'll do it a little better tomorrow. If you did that every single day, can you imagine in a year where you would be?
Right.
Can you imagine in 10 years where you would be? And this is the thing, when people come on the channel and they're like, oh, it's a fat carnivore. Screw those people. Okay. I've lost 130 pounds, not because I looked at myself in the mirror and said, I'm fat. What am I going to do? I lost 130 pounds because I said, here's a terrible thing I'm doing in my life. Here's how I'm going to do it better tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. It didn't happen overnight. Sure, when I started carnivore and I had all of the whoosh, the inflammation come off my body, you see very quick results. That's great. But you're not going to whoosh your way to being a 6-pack abs on the front of GQ magazine model.
Right.
That doesn't work that way. Those models don't get to that point overnight. And quite honestly, a lot of them don't get to that point at all because they Photoshop it. So it doesn't really matter what someone like that looks like. And when someone comes on the channel and they say, I'm a fat carnivore, it's like, as compared to who? Like, the only thing I'm comparing myself to is the fact that 2 years ago, I was 100 pounds heavier than I am now.
Right.
So if in 2 years I've lost 100 pounds, does it matter if someone else is skinny? I don't care if, like, let's take a good example that everybody knows. Dr. Chafee, okay? That guy's got a 6-pack and pecs, and he's a professional rugby player, and he's meat, salt water, and all of that kind of stuff. Like, dude is a beast, okay? Good. Dr. Sean Baker, same thing. He lifts heavy weights and holds, like, some world records for his age group and, like, all this kind of stuff with these athletic things. That's amazing. I'm huge fans of what those guys do. I think that's awesome. I'm not sitting here looking at their picture going, oh, but look at me, I'm a fat carnivore. I don't care. I guarantee you neither one of those guys can walk in the kitchen and throw down like I can.
Right.
You know, because they're not supposed to. That's not what their talent is. So I don't need to compare myself to Dr. Chafee and be like, I'm not as good of a carnivore as Dr. Chafee or Dr. Baker. I'm not as good of a carnivore as Dr. Baker. I'm not comparing myself to Dr. Barry. Guy's in great shape.
Right.
Works on his farm every day. He's brilliant. He's a medical doctor. Of course he's brilliant. I can understand the things that he does. Doesn't mean I'm trained in the things that he does.
Sure.
But if you put Dr. Barry and I in a cooking competition, I'd probably smoke him.
Yeah.
Because that's not what he's doing. That's not what his purpose is. It's not how he helps people. Dr. Barry's not sitting there and comparing himself to all the other doctors in the world, trying to figure out how to be better. He's just trying to be the best he can be with what he sees. And then he's trying to inspire others to do the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. And I'm not special in this. Everyone is capable of doing this. Maybe it's a YouTube channel. Maybe it's being a doctor. Maybe it's being a recipe creator. Maybe it's being involved in your church or your community or your family. Maybe it's being a mom and a grandmother. Maybe it's being a dad. Maybe it's working at a steel mill. Maybe it's driving construction equipment. Maybe it's being a teacher. I don't know. Whatever it is you do, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. You're not a better or a worse carnivore than somebody else because you're not the same person. The only way to compare that is if you were 100% genetically identical, you lived the exact same life, you had the exact same thoughts and feelings. If every single thing about your existence was a carbon copy of somebody else, you could compare the two things. And there's not a single person in the world, even identical twins are not the same people. That's as close as we get. And even then, it doesn't actually work that way. So there's not a single human being in the entire world who is exactly the same as you. So why do we compare what we do to someone else? It's a trap. It is a comparison trap that other people use to enslave you in their kingdom so they can lord over you and make themselves feel better. And not a single one of us needs it or benefits from it because you are all worth so much more than being compared to somebody else that lives a different life than you. I don't need to worry about the extra weight I still have to lose, with the exception of the fact that every day I need to do a little bit of something to try to make myself a more stable carnivore or keto or whatever it is I choose to do to try to make my health a little better than it was yesterday. And some days are not perfect, and maybe you don't succeed at making it better than it was yesterday. Great. Let it go and move on. Who cares?
Try again.
Try again. Don't compare that to, somebody else who doesn't mess up or somebody else who didn't have this thing or whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care about being the best carnivore. I don't care about being super strict. I don't care about the dogmatic douchebags that are out there that decide to try to run people down and tell you you're not good enough. The number of people that I have seen I'm on this group on Facebook. It's called Dirty Carnivore Recipes. The number of people that have joined that group and said, I got run out of another carnivore group for mentioning something like flavored electrolytes. How stupid is that?
Yeah.
I got run out of a Facebook group because I have an artificial flavoring or a natural flavoring or a whatever thing might be in my electrolytes. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard of in my life. And I see it repeatedly and I've experienced it myself. Those people are trying to compare you to their own expectations, to lord over you, because they're sad and weak and disgusting little people that have nothing better in their life than to try to make you feel terrible. And that is why we don't compare ourselves to people, because it gives people like that power. And people like that don't deserve power. Quite honestly, I don't think they deserve social media. I think people like that should be banned from groups like that because I don't think that's a kind way to live. But it is a free country, at least here in the United States, and freedom of speech means you get to have social media and say whatever you want, provided you don't upset the Facebook peeps to the point that you break their policy to where they ban you. So, people are free to say what they want, and you're free to not listen. So that's my rant. That's my preaching. Do not compare yourself to people. Do not put yourself into a comparison trap, because this week and all of the weeks going forward, but this week, do not compare yourself to people, because you deserve to just have the freedom and the peace of knowing that you don't have to live up to someone else's expectations. And all you have to do is take today and make it a little better than it was yesterday. And if you just don't worry about comparing yourself in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, and whenever, you're going to look back at all this amazing progress and you're going to go, wow, look what happened because I didn't compare myself to a bunch of jerks that tried to lord over me and enslave me in their kingdom.
I like it.
That's my motivation for the week. So I don't care what anybody else says. Reverend Delisle's done.
Reverend Delisle's done. I think that's a really good point, though. I also think, too, though, oddly enough, I was literally, maybe about 10, 20 minutes before we jumped here on the live, I was actually reading an article from Keith Urban, the musician, who's been a judge on American Idol and like all these different things. And he actually was talking about in this interview that I was reading that he said that he actually finds it really hard to give people advice and to tell them what they should and shouldn't do, because he says everybody is on a different journey.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can try to help, but like everyone is just on their own journey and on their own road. And he's like, so who am I to really, tell them? And so I think, I loved what you were saying about all the amazing different creators that we have though in the keto and carnivore space.
Yeah.
It's like we have guys that are, brain surgeons and super athletic, and they have a six pack.
Yeah.
And we have really incredible medical doctors, and we have, all these different people, even just people that are, just sharing their life and just sharing how this helps. And then we have people like you and, so many others that are just sharing recipes and how to make this lifestyle more attainable. But it's like you kind of need people that have their different lane to essentially be a successful community.
Yeah.
Right? Because if all you're doing is throwing me medical knowledge, but then I'm like, well, how do I eat this way? What do I do? Okay, well then we have you. And I also think too, like, if you come into the space and you're online and you have a six pack and all, and that's great for you. I think people like you though, where it's like, well, I was 400 pounds and now I'm this. Okay, so like you said, if every day you're not worried about that and you're just doing the work, like where are you going to be a year from now?
Right.
So how good is that going to look for the keto and carnivore lifestyle, where say a couple of years from now, maybe you do have a six pack and, or whatever, like good deal.
Right.
But we all just have our different lanes.
Yeah.
So good.
Absolutely.
Great job preaching.
I think a good example of this would be, on the one spectrum, we have people like Dr. Anthony Chafee and Dr. Barry and Dr. Baker, these guys they're in great shape. They're very physically active. They eat very strict carnivore most of the time or all of the time or whatever. And then you can go to a complete opposite end of the spectrum. And so, of course, there's people like me that are dirty carnivore and have, used this way to just get into a better place in life and, all this different stuff. But then you also have people like Anita, a ketogenic woman, like she's an older lady who just makes recipes. I mean, it's like I'm a mom. I'm a, all these things. I cook for family, like all this kind of stuff. And she shared her journey of how keto and then ketovore and then carnivore and then more strict carnivore, like all of this has changed her life. And she makes these recipes. She gets so many people. My dad has made this point about her. She gets so many people who, especially women, but even men, who are 50, 60, 70 years old.
Right.
That relate to her.
Sure.
Because they're all in a similar generational part of their life. And it's like, okay, well, they look at her as just a normal, like, mom in the house cooking for people who's in that part of life and how she's benefiting. They don't relate to someone who's a professional rugby player and a brain surgeon with a six pack. Well, and not that they can't benefit from someone like that.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's why no matter if you have a YouTube channel or you're just a mom or whatever it is that you do, it's really more about how you decide to look at the world around you, because we all have our different places in the world.
Yeah.
And not one is greater than the other.
Right.
But when we all do our thing that we're good at and we stay in our lane and we don't compare ourselves to the other, that's when, as a community, we become successful.
Yes.
And
Cindy Demanch is another good example of this.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, here's my channel. Here, she does these videos where she shows the meals that she ate all week long. Right? They're very simple in concept, but there are people that benefit so much because they go, oh, here's someone who I relate to for whatever reason. They're a woman, they're a mom, they're a grandma, they're, a wife, they're, I don't know, whatever the reason is that maybe they would relate to her specifically. And they see what she's doing and they go, well, it makes me feel a little better about how I do things.
Yeah.
Because I'm not alone in this.
Right.
And then suddenly they find more success. It's like, you don't have to be a 6-pack meat, salt, water carnivore to inspire people's lives, or even to change your own. You
don't even need to have a YouTube channel,
honestly,
to really do that. I mean,
you can help your friends next door just by inviting them over to dinner. And then they go, man, you've lost a lot of weight. You look great. Or your skin looks amazing. Or you have so much more energy, or whatever the thing is that they noticed. Yeah. What are you doing?
You lead by example, basically. Yeah. It's really true.
I'm sure the comment section has some stuff we're behind on, but
are you done preaching?
That's my preaching.
So good.
That's
good
my
job.
Preaching.
Good job. Well, hopefully that motivates folks. All right, let's see what's going on here in the comments. let's see. Barry Williams is here. Says,
hello, Barry.
Good morning, y'all. Hope you're doing great. We're doing great, Barry. We hope you're doing good.
We've got coffee and a puppy. So
that's right. The dog is dead asleep on my feet. She is so cuddly. Patty is watching.
Hi, Patty.
She says, hi, I really enjoyed your channel. Thanks so much for what you do.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you being here and supporting what we do, because we can't do it without people supporting us. Speaking of, hit that like button and the share button and all the things down below. Subscribe if you haven't yet to this video, to this channel, because we got a bunch of health vlog stuff coming out here soon.
Yeah. Tammy wants to know, what does your shirt say?
My shirt says, I enjoy romantic walks through the meat department. My brother-in-law got this for me.
Yep. Cindy DeManch says, Chris and Ash, you can put music on my live stream anytime.
We appreciate that.
Addicted to Antler says, Chris, you're so great at explaining things.
Oh, I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm great at explaining things, but I do it loudly if you let me. So
nah. Maritza says, agreed, with a bunch of thumbs up.
Yes.
So Cindy says, so agree, Chris. Comparing ourselves to others is not beneficial. Everyone reacts differently to all things, whether it's food, comments, etc. Have to find what works for you.
Yep.
Jennifer says, it's usually so well-meaning too. It's true. Let's see here. Maritza says, you are only the masters of your kingdom.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Barry Weems says, great video. There are no two bodies that react the same way to anything. What works for one person doesn't mean it will work for you.
Yep.
Addicted to Antler says, like semi-retired Bob says, be 1% better today, tomorrow, and every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
22Q Cat says, yes, this is a hard one. I don't respond well to being beaten down for things I do or how I look. I'm way too sensitive. I try to show love and kindness to myself and to others.
It's hard. And I mean, listen, even to this day, when I get those comments that talk about how I'm fat or I'm this or I'm not, I had one the other day that I showed it to Ash. I just deleted it because I wasn't even going to take the time to respond because it's not worth my attention. But I had one where somebody was talking about the noodle recipe. The noodle recipe I just released this last week, or the 2 weeks ago, I guess, and they said that, first of all, they thought the recipe was ridiculous because no one would get around to doing anything past the cube chicken breast, which I'm like, I mean, I've had dozens of comments already that people are making it, so I don't know what they're talking about, but whatever. But then they talked about the fact that I look the way that I do, and they said something about my beard and my fingernails, and like, I mean, I honestly, it was hard to even understand what they were saying or what point they were trying to make. I just know that it was all very much in like an insulting way, and this is stupid, and you're fat, and you're ugly, and your beard and your fingernails. I don't know what any of that was, which it's like, okay, well, I have a beard and I have long fingernails because I'm a musician and I like having a beard, and my wife likes me having a beard. So
I think you're pretty hot. I got no complaints.
Well,
here you go.
I'm just trying to keep up with you. But I looked at this comment, and it's like that hits you a little bit.
Sure.
It doesn't matter who you are. I think things like that hit you.
You're human.
Bit. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it feels bad to have insulting things said like that, especially when you're like, what does that even mean? I don't understand like why you're insulting this. If you don't like it, move on. But whatever. But that's what I'm saying. That's a good example of someone who is, I'm going to be a king, pull you into my kingdom, and I'm going to put you at my feet and lord over you by telling you you're worthless and you have to live up to my expectations. And it's like, if we were in person, you would never say something like that to my face. And if you did, I'd give you a redneck hello.
That's fair.
So.
Yeah. And I think it's people, like, not only on the internet. I think for a lot of people, it could be just people in your own life, in your own community. And
it's not just the internet. It can just be, sometimes it can be a family member, which
I also think too,
makes it hard.
Right. I also think too, like, we never compare ourselves to anyone, but one of the things that I definitely do, and I think you have really started to do this in recent years too, is like, look at the way successful people think.
Yes.
Right? Because I think that people that do extraordinary things, whether they're famous or not, doesn't matter. But it's like people that I admire what they do, I like to get inside their head. Like, how do you approach a situation? How do you think about this? Like, what's the deal? I think that's why we probably listen to people too, like Dr. Barry. Like, I would love to know what Dr. Barry thinks about insert a subject, because I'm like, he's really smart, and like he's really helped me before in the past. So like, you know, if I have a medical question on keto and carnivore, that's who I go to. And there's so many other amazing people, but you know, it's like we seek information, we seek knowledge to try to better ourselves. And that's awesome. But it's kind of like this thing where it's like successful people have done so much research and knowledge, and they've probably made a lot of mistakes and had a lot of failures to where they're very confident and they know for a fact that this is how you do it and this is the way that you do it. And now they're out there sharing that information with others, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, think like a successful person. So when someone says something like that, we don't really put any thought into it. It may be like, oh, really? I remember one time on a YouTube video, someone commented that they don't like the way Chris breathes, like literally like air, like it's just stuff like that. Though
they didn't like the way that I breathe. And then I remember back when I did my pizza video, somebody said that my video made them want to take their pizza cutter and slice their own jugular because of my voice.
Yeah,
and it's like.
And those are just very, honestly, just sad, insecure people. And I think sometimes when you're doing things like, especially, you know, trying to educate people on a lifestyle that in today's world is not necessarily the most popular. Hopefully it becomes more popular, but you know, most of society says don't eat red meat, it's bad for you.
Right.
And so this is just part of it. And so you're gonna get hate and criticism no matter if you're on YouTube or not.
Right.
But it's like, how do successful people handle that?
Absolutely.
And how can you apply that into your own life?
Absolutely.
Let's see. We got all these things. I don't know if you even remember or what the deal was, but some people wanted to know what the Facebook group was that kicked you out.
I've been kicked out of several. I have been kicked out of, well, I say kicked out. What I really mean is I received so much hate and backlash over simple things like using garlic powder on my steak that I got sick and tired of being just insulted and bullied. So I have left probably 10 or 15 different carnivore Facebook groups over the last 2 years. The Dirty Carnivore Recipes group is the only one that I am really in and that I interact in because it's fitting and I can put recipe stuff in there. And the moderator of that, guy named Matthew Edwards, is really good about, like, if you're here and you act like a jerk, you get booted. Like, you don't have to agree with everybody, and that's fine. We can have discussion. But if you act like a jerk, or if you can't be nice, or if you can't play well with others, I will kick you out of the sandbox. And he does. And he's a one-man show too. So sometimes it takes him a little while to catch up with everything because it's a pretty active group, but that's really the only one that I'm involved in. And I'd love to be in more, you know, I don't mind in any way being in groups like that, but you know, it really gets to be a lot. Even that Dirty Carnivores group, when I first joined it and I posted a couple of recipes in there, I got some hate from a few people that were members in there that I was promoting and I was spamming my own stuff, which I find it funny that it's like you're trying to share what you do, which is totally okay if you don't have the YouTube channel. But if you own the YouTube channel, well, then there's certain people who think you shouldn't be allowed to post about it, even if what it is like, hey, here's a free recipe for everybody. The guy in charge of the group, Matthew, actually told me, he was like, hey, you're fine. You're welcome to post stuff in here. We appreciate that. And he booted those people. So it's one of the few times I've ever seen a Facebook group that has somebody who is in charge of it that actually, like, you don't have to agree, but you do need to be kind. And if you're not, I will kick you out. So that's the only one that I'm a part of, that I'm interactive in. I think I'm like maybe part of one or two others, but I never go and look at them. I never pay attention because it is so much hatred for anyone who is not like beef, salt, water. And I mean, I've even seen people like get run out of groups like that because the beef they're eating isn't grass fed.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm eating meat and I'm eating salt and I'm drinking water and that's it. But it's not grass fed, and people will crucify them in the comment section. And it's like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
22Q Cat and Cindy both have really good comments. kind of on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Lynn says, I was kicked out of a keto group many years ago just because I mentioned those skinny syrups I used in my coffee. Seriously, I got deleted and blocked.
Yep.
And then Cindy says, I too have been blocked from commenting on a keto page for commenting the difference in counting total carbs and net carbs, LOL. So, I mean, it happens. But again, it's like, you're probably just not... You don't want to cast your pearls before swine. You're better off not being a part of those.
Right.
Cindy also says, Chris, you can put anything on my keto page for sure.
Thank
Tammy
you, Cindy.
Also says Dirty Carnivore is a good one.
Yeah.
And then Jennifer says, Holy Insecurity Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, need to steal that. That's really good.
Yes. That's a good one.
Jennifer also, talking about your shirt, I enjoy romantic walks through the meat department. Jennifer also says, my hubby needs that shirt, LOL. He has powered by steak and coffee.
Yeah.
I like that.
A good example of how much I love this shirt is, my birthday is coming up in like a week, less than, I guess.
Sunday.
And Sunday. And Ash has been asking me, like, what do you want to do for your birthday? What do you want? And I never am very good at like getting around to picking anything. I'm a really simple guy. I don't go out and do like lavish things and that kind of stuff. This is just not me. So I was like, here's honestly what I would really like to do. I would like to go to Whole Foods because they have probably the best selection in the meat department and seafood department of any of the stores around here. I would like to go to Whole Foods. I would like to walk through the meat and seafood department and see if they have some interesting things that I either have never had or that are things I don't get very often, whatever. And I would like to get a selection of keto and or carnivore foods and just have some fun picking out some things and maybe pick out some stuff for her if there's things that she wants, and come home and fire up the grill, fire up the stove, whatever it is we decide we would do. And I would just like to cook something that feels a little special and just kind of spend some time at home. And there's a chance maybe my parents might be coming through. They might be busy. I'm not sure what's going on. We're still waiting to hear, but that's what I would like to do. So I very much enjoy romantic walks through the meat department.
He really does, though. He really does. So as long as he's happy.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying, Tammy says, happy birthday for sure. Cindy says, happy early birthday, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
22Q Cat says, sounds like a good birthday plan to me.
Yeah.
Jennifer says, yay, hubby's is Saturday.
Cool.
I like Maritz's comment, talking about people on the internet. Like Thumper says, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
That's right.
Jennifer says, we went to a local butcher shop of a family that raises their own pastured beef and got $40 a pound ribeyes for his birthday. Yum.
Yeah.
And then Kathy and Wallflower both say happy birthday. But yeah.
Well, thank you all so much.
The birthday boy.
Yes.
It will be fun. But
It will be. Well, I have preached extensively today.
Yeah.
And I hope that this is inspiring and motivating for you all, because I really think that there is so much potential to change the world using keto and carnivore, because I see what happens to people who are inflamed, who are eating junk, who just are struggling, and they don't know they're struggling. And I know they don't know they're struggling because I was there and I didn't realize I was struggling either. And when you get off of the junk, even if it's not perfect, right? Even if you're like, hey, I'm keto like 5 days a week, and then on the weekends I eat whatever I want. That's still better than just eating whatever you want 7 days a week. Like there's so much of a progression of this. There is a spectrum, and just starting people out on that and slowly working them up and up and up and up and up and getting better and better. That is so important to actually be able to help people. And this is one of the things, I've had several people recently. I mean, it happens all the time, but recently I've had several people that have commented on my recipes saying, like, this is not carnivore. Carnivore is supposed to be fill in the blank with whatever they think carnivore is supposed to be, which the philosophy behind the logic that they're using is very weak anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But if I say something to them and it's like, well, their response is like, well, carnivore is supposed to be this and that and blah, 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 blah. That's what carnivore is. And my response to them is always the exact same. Even if that's true, which I don't agree that it is, but even if that's true, how many people are you helping by acting that way? and I never get a response.
Mm.
I never get a response because people who should other people who compare and try to pull you into the comparison trap, and they try to lord over you and make you a slave in their kingdom, they don't want to help people. They want to put people down to help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And to make themselves feel good because they're, I don't know, I guess sad, lost, miserable people who feel good when other people feel pain. That's the only thing I can figure. And it's like, even if, and this is a big if, but even if meat, salt, water, carnivore is the best thing for all human beings, and I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you whether I believe that to be true or not because I can't back it up with anything. But even if that was true, does it do any good to stand on a soapbox and scream at the world that they should be eating meat, salt, water while watching them all die?
No.
Does that do any good? Because, in my opinion, that doesn't do anybody any good, and you're standing there watching the world burn when, if you weren't so dogmatic about it, you could maybe actually help people improve their lives and maybe over time get more people into the meat, salt, water thing. But because it has to be black or white, you stand on one place and you stand on your laurels and you watch everybody else burn, and then you think that makes you better than everybody else. I think that's a pretty pathetic way to live.
Mm-hmm. 22Q Cat Lynn actually made a comment a few minutes ago that I just saw that actually really speaks well into what you're saying. She said, "There's something about that guy I don't like about me. I think that explains why some people put others down to make themselves feel better about what they don't like about themselves."
Yes. My dad has always said, people are real good at recognizing a fault in you because they're trying to not see it in themselves.
Yeah, very true.
And I think that's very much what Lynn is saying there. And I think you're totally right, Lynn. That's a great point.
Yeah.
So, do we have any other comments or questions before we let everybody go?
Addicted Antler says, everyone have a great day and week. Barry Weems says, Sprouts also has a nice meat department also. And Richard Williams says, hello neighbors from Copper Hill, Tennessee.
Hello neighbor.
Hello.
We got to get over to Copper Hill because there's so many people that are apparently from that area over there that every time Richard is on one of our streams or other YouTube videos commenting, there's always people that are commenting that are like, hello neighbor, that apparently must be nearby, and they all talk about how great it is. So
right.
We'll have to make a drive sometime. So well guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us for Monday Morning Motivations on the Studios channel here. If you haven't yet, please like the video, subscribe, share the video, tell people we're here. We're trying to get the watch hours up on this video because once this video gets monetized, it's easier for us to do more things for you guys. And I have a bunch of really cool ideas that I'm really looking forward to sharing, especially now that we're getting caught up.
Yeah.
When I have more time, once I get caught up with the other things I need to film and edit and post and all that stuff, we can start putting more stuff in here. And I'm going to do some research-based things, and I'm going to do some interviews and some different things that I think will be really beneficial and should be a lot of fun. And trying to figure out a way to make things more Chris Cooking Nashville style and a little less what everybody else is doing. I think there's so many people in the keto and carnivore space that do amazing interviews for you guys to hear all of this wonderful stuff. And I think that's great. But I would love to do some interviews that go a different direction than just kind of the same information. I love Dr. Barry so much. I have seen so many interviews that he's done on so many different channels, and it's always the same information because that's what everybody wants from Dr. Barry. And I think that's really cool because there's such a plethora of options out there of people that are interviewing him and talking about his information. But I'm like, if I was to interview someone like Dr. Barry, what would I do? How would that interview go? And how would we get interesting information that's all of the information you need, but in a format that's totally different and in a way that maybe leads to new pieces of conversation that people would really benefit from. So I'm trying to do things like that, where I'm trying to get, whoever I can get as guests to be on interviews here. I'm trying to get sort of an approach laid out where we can do some cool stuff. And if we can monetize the channel, we get more options. So
Mm-hmm.
But thank you guys so much for watching. Is there anything in the comments before we sign off today?
Yeah, Jennifer says you the best with a little party and then a little bacon emoji.
Jennifer, you're the best.
22Q Cat says see you tomorrow evening for your next live.
Yep, we'll be here tomorrow night or tomorrow evening on the main channel doing the live cooking
some stuff. Marissa says everyone have a great week. She also says eat your meat, love your life.
Yes.
Barry Weem says, let's not worry about what everyone else thinks, and why don't we just kick back in our chairs and have another cigarette?
Yeah.
Barry, I appreciate that, my friend. I see what you did there, Barry.
Yes, guys,
buddy.
Go to ashtaylor.com and also go to Spotify, iTunes, just Google Play, still have wherever it is you stream your music. Wherever it is you stream music, Spotify is the king, but wherever you go and stream your music, go look up Ash Taylor and her newest single, Cigarette, that is out. We actually have filmed a music video that we're beginning to edit and work on for that. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming, but you guys go check out ashtaylor.com. She has all of the links for things like tickets for shows that we're going to be doing. Her tour schedule is there. We'd love to see you guys come see us live at a show if we're in a city near you. And she has merch, and she has songs you can listen to on streaming services. She has social media you can follow her on and see her and the dog and maybe me occasionally, like all the fun stuff. So, and we do her live stream every Wednesday now called Ash Wednesdays. So you can find all of that on her YouTube channel as well. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. Go to ashtaylor.com. It'll link you to everything. And you can go to chriscookingnashville.com if you'd like to buy a t-shirt or a hat like Miss Ash is wearing over here, any of these kinds of things. So lots of cool stuff.
Yep, absolutely. Well, this has been fun.
This has been good. I feel motivated. I feel like coffee is kicking in, and so is my motivation.
Okay.
And we have a busy day ahead, and both of us are a little short on sleep, but we're going to make it through.
That's right.
So
that's what we do.
It's going to be good. I'm going to go get some video stuff done. We're going to make some food. I'm going to teach some guitar lessons. We have a taste test video that we're going to be working for you guys on. It's going to be really good. It's going to film today. And we just got a bunch of stuff to do. So thank you guys for being here. We love every single one of you. This is Chris Cookin Nashville. My beautiful wife, Ash Taylor, who is just my rock and keeps me going. Thank you guys for being here. Eat your meat. Love your life. And we'll see you here and on the other main channel for health vlogs, live streams, recipes.
All the things.
All of the things.
Yep.
You guys have a good day and enjoy your week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.